Chickadees, welcome to a new video. Historical Halloween is a collaboration hosted by Lady Rebecca Fashions and Kira Lee Cosplay and open to the whole costuming community to recreate a historical fancy dress outfit. I chose the Magpie from Weldon's Practical Fancy Dress for Ladies, published in 1888. I love that the earlier catalogues have descriptions of the outfit and tips on construction and colour schemes. For the Magpie, the description says, this costume would be carried out in white silk or satin and black velvet, or black and white sateen could be employed. The stockings being of black and white stripes with patent leather or black satin shoes and gloves of black suede kid. I chose to use a white fabric that I was given by my mum, and I tried to dye it black for the accents. Unfortunately, I ended up with a graphite grey colour, which didn't work for the costume, but is a really nice colour, so I'll probably use it in another costume. Luckily, James found the exact same fabric in black at our local Fabricland. Weldon says, the pointed bodice of white silk is laced down the back, and the open neck trimmed with velvet cut on the cross and folded as a bertha. Finished in the front with a bow of ribbon, quite small white silk sleeves are added, these being tied up with black velvet, and on one shoulder is a magpie. For the bodice I used the 1890s ball gown bodice from Truly Victorian, which is my go-to, and cut two layers from the white fabric, one on the straight grain and one on the cross grain, in place of an interlining. I would always encourage using a suitable interlining in your historical projects, but this technique can be used in a pinch. The texture around selvage to selvage, but is not distracting in the final garment. This is the inside of the bodice currently. I have most of the bones stitched in. I managed to not cut out enough, so I've got a dart that needs doing, and then I need to do the spiral steel at the back here, and then I'm going to neaten it up a bit, but I'm not going to put a lining on it because it's just a Halloween costume. Then I'm going to fold these up like this and just cross stitch them into place. And if after that I feel like they need a bit more, then I might put some bias binding on them, but yeah, I will try cross stitch first, and then I need to cut out rectangles of the black fabric to put around the armhole, and then I need to do the bertha. So I'm going to leave the top of the collar raw for now, and then decide whether I want to attach the bertha to this and then just fold it over, or to finish it first and then attach the bertha on. I will figure that out. But yes, that is the bodice so far, and it's coming together nicely. This is where I've got to with the bodice. All the inside now has all its boning. It hasn't been quite finished yet. This is the bertha collar, which is looking very cute. Not a fan of how it meets up at the shoulder, but this is going to be covered with ribbon anyway, so honestly it's not going to matter too much. These were the sleeves I attempted. I don't like them, so I'm just going to take them off and leave it sleeveless, which whilst I don't think was quite accurate, there would have been sleeves of some kind. The picture shows it pretty much sleeveless anyway, and it's going to have loads of froof at the shoulders with the ribbons, so I don't think it's going to matter too much. So I've had this velvet ribbon in my stash for Lord knows how long, so that's just going to go around the shoulder. So it's going to be one band that goes around the shoulder, and then I'm going to make up some bows and fluffs and things like that. I took the sleeves off and just hemmed the edges over. I might need to just put a running stitch around them just to keep them secured down, and just give it a really good press as well. So yeah, the finishings I've got to do is to do the bow bits on the shoulders and at the front, sort out the raw edge underneath here. I'll probably just pink that, And then the last thing to do on this is actually just do the lacing on the back. So put in the eyelets and sort out lacing. So that's quite fun. Oh, and sort out the end of the Bertha collar pieces here. Yeah, just give it a bit of a steam and just finish the ends off. And then that is the bodice done pretty much. And then I need to make the strap for the Magpie. The edges of the Bertha were pinked and I whip stitched it down along the back neck edge to stop it flipping out. I played around with the ribbons to get something I like and landed on this figure of 8 style with 2 stacked on top of each other. For the skirt, it says the foundation skirt of white lining is cut as a gauze front, side gore and back breadth, covered with alternate 9-inch bands of velvet and 10-inch kilts of silk, each taking a width of 24-inch silk, which can be lined with lino previous to kilting up, as it sets it out firmly. The entire skirt is alternate kilts and plain bands, 5 or 6 of each. I have quickly just put the underskirt on my dress form. So this is made out of just 1 meter of material because that's all I had. It's just a cotton, and I have done similar to my normal skirts. I do a triangular-ish piece on the front, and then it's got a triangular-ish piece on the side. I'm probably going to put a couple of darts just in the front and at the side here just to give it a tiny bit more shaping, but it really doesn't need that much fuss doing about it because it is literally just an underskirt. So there's that, and then at the back is just basically a straight panel which I've then cut into 2 just to get the seam up the back. I've left a 10-inch gap at the top, and that's just going to get pleated down to create some fluff. So that is a very quick and simple underskirt. I stitched in the darts and took the opportunity to finish the raw edges with a zigzag stitch. When it came to the overskirt, I spent quite a long time trying to figure out what the description meant. Kilting the fabric seems to imply folding it in large overlapping pleats. However, this doesn't explain how it would then fit into the waist if each white section was 10 inches wide and each black section was 9 inches wide. So I decided to use the measurements for the bottom edges and pleat down more at the top edges. So for the white sections, I cut out rectangles 24 by 32 inches. The bottom was pleated down to 10 inches and the top pleated down to 2.5 inches, not including the seam allowance. These pleats were then pressed thoroughly in place. The image shows the pleats going all in one direction, but I prefer things to be symmetrical. This did mean that I had to pleat towards the centre front instead of the centre back, but I would rather this than having flashbacks to the 90s and those awfully unflattering straight pleated skirts on an elastic waistband. The black sections were cut as 10 by 32 inches to include seam allowance at the sides. They were stitched to the white segments and the tops were pleated into 3 1-inch pleats. I pinned all the pleats and kilts in place and then attached it to the waistband. This was stitched with a 1/2-inch seam allowance, and the lining skirt was then laid in place and pinned flat up until the side seams. The rest were gathered to fit, and then this was stitched with 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. I have attached the waistband to the skirt, just a simple rectangle of fabric. I need to sew on a popper, or a couple of poppers just there, and then I just need to steam it. Annoyingly, the white sections are kind of bowing in on themselves. The instructions did suggest to line it, but I didn't because of, time constraints and things like that. But yeah, they seem to just be kind of collapsing in on themselves, so Just needs another steam, and then the black sections are looking a little bouncy, so I'm going to stretch them out and steam them as well, just to make it a bit sleeker. For accessories, as well as the black gloves and the Magpie, Weldon states a black and white fan would be correct. The little cap is extremely becoming, and this, to correspond with the dress, has the left side black and the right side white, lined with something stiff, covered with white sarsenet. Then the crown is dented in lengthways from back to front by pressing it with the hand in a boat shape. I won't go into too much detail on the animatronics of the Magpie, as James, aka CollingWoods Contraptions, will have an in-depth video on his channel. Suffice to say, his little body is made of wood to protect the electronics too, and a shell of foam which was covered with long pile black and white fur and feathers. His feet are a mixture of leather and polymorph, which is a moldable plastic. The head is a styrofoam ball with leather accents and beak and domed buttons for the eyes, which was sprayed with lacquer to make them extra shiny. We keep calling him a he, but he doesn't actually have a name yet, so please post your suggestions down in the comments and we may use your suggestion. He was attached to the bodice with 2 strong magnets. To stop him tipping forward, as he is very front heavy, I attached a thick ribbon to my corset and then tacked it to the bodice. Next time I think we'll go for even stronger magnets. My gloves were purchased pre-owned from eBay, and I used my striped leggings for the stockings and wore my boots to hide the edges. I wasn't originally going to make a hat because I didn't like how the one in the picture looked, but James insisted and grabbed a pile of materials from the studio whilst he was out food shopping. It's very unusual for me to still be working on a project on the day of the shoot, but I only had 2 weeks to make this entire ensemble, which sounds like a lot but did have to fit around other prior engagements. I made the basic rosette and decorated it with some fur and the rest of the feathers. I was going to go with the black and grey button, but in person I liked the iridescent blue one more. It was hot glued to a hair clip, and voila, a completed outfit. There are lots of things I would do differently if I had more time, but for what it is, I actually really like how it turned out. I will probably add a lining to the bodice, as I do plan on wearing this for future costume parties. I hope you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to check out James's channel if you are interested in prop making. Everything I have mentioned will be in the description below. Whilst you're down there, if you want to like, comment and subscribe, that would be really helpful. If you want to help me further, why not consider donating to my coffee? Keep watching for some bloopers, and don't forget to be kind to yourself and compassionate to others, and I will see you all in the next video.
And 12.
Oh, sorry.
Height on the That's right, you're doing great.
My ankle's going numb.
I know. Okay, and look at the birdie. And give him a little cheeky. There we go. He's falling forwards. There we go. Okay, perfect.
Oh.
Okay, that's perfect.
Yeah.